Picture a small town, decades ago, where a woman's reputation collapsed in 3 days. Not because of a crime, not because of a lawsuit, because of a rumor that started in a hair salon and ended at her front door. Nobody checked if it was true. Nobody needed to. By the time it reached her, it had already done its damage. That is the strange power you are about to understand, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly why your brain would rather hear a juicy rumor than read a peer-reviewed study, even when the rumor is wrong and the study is right. Here is the promise. You're going to find out why gossip feels better than facts, why your brain treats a whisper about your neighbor like a 5-course meal, and why some of the smartest people you know still cannot resist checking who liked whose photo at 3 in the morning. Stick around, because near the end, I am going to tell you about an experiment where scientists watched people's brains light up the moment they heard gossip. And what they found will change how you see every group chat you are part of. Let's start with a question. Why does your best friend telling you about a coworker's affair feel more satisfying than your best friend telling you about a breakthrough in cancer research? Both are information. Both took the same 10 seconds to say. But one makes your whole body lean in, and the other makes your eyes glaze over. That gap is not an accident. It is wiring. Your brain did not evolve in a world of newspapers and journals. It evolved in small bands of people who depended on each other to survive. 50 people, maybe 80, stuck together for warmth, food, and protection. In that world, the most dangerous thing was not a lion in the grass. It was a person inside your own group who could not be trusted. Someone who stole food. Someone who slept with your partner. Someone who whispered to the tribe next door. Facts about rainfall patterns mattered, but facts about who was cheating who was hoarding resources, who was quietly building power, those facts could get you killed if you missed them. So the brain built a fast lane for social information, and it never bothered building the same fast lane for abstract truth. That fast lane is still open. Right now, in your skull. Every time someone leans in and says, "Did you hear about?" a part of your brain called the amygdala lights up before you have even processed the sentence. The amygdala is your alarm system, the part that used to scan for predators. Somewhere along the evolutionary line, it started treating social threats the exact same way it treats physical ones. A rumor about betrayal triggers the same circuitry as a rustle in the bushes. Your body does not know the difference between a lion and a lie about your friend. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Researchers at Northeastern University ran a study where they showed people 2 kinds of information side by side. Neutral facts, like a description of someone's job or hobbies, and gossip, some positive, some negative, about the same people. They tracked how long each image held people's attention. Negative gossip held it noticeably longer, not because people were bad, but because their brains were doing exactly what evolution trained them to do, scanning for a threat or an opportunity hidden inside a social story. You have probably heard dopamine called the pleasure chemical, but that is not quite right. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It fires strongest right before a reward, not during it. That is why the 3 seconds before someone tells you the juicy part of a story feel almost unbearable. Your brain is already predicting a payoff, and it wants that payoff now. Slot machines are built on this exact mechanism. So is your group chat. Think about the last time someone texted you. You are not going to believe what just happened, and then took forever to explain. That gap between the tease and the reveal is not annoying by accident. It is the most addictive part of the whole exchange. Your dopamine system is already spiking before you know a single detail. Facts almost never do this. A headline that says, "Unemployment rate falls by 0.5% does not make your brain hold its breath. A headline that says, "She found out on her wedding day," absolutely does. This is the part most people never think about. Gossip is not just entertainment. It is a survival tool disguised as entertainment. When you learn that someone in your friend group cannot be trusted with secrets, you just protected yourself from a future betrayal without ever being burned yourself. When you learn which coworker takes credit for other people's work, you just avoided a landmine before stepping on it. Evolutionary psychologists call this social learning without personal cost. You get the lesson without paying the price. That is an incredible deal for a brain built to survive, and it is exactly why gossip spreads faster than warnings, faster than facts, faster than almost anything else humans say to each other. There is a researcher named Robin Dunbar who spent years studying this, and his theory flips the whole conversation on its head. Dunbar argued that gossip is not a corruption of language. It is the reason language exists in the first place. Before humans had big cities and written laws, gossip was the entire justice system. It was how communities policed cheaters, rewarded cooperators, and decided who could be trusted with the next hunt or the next harvest. Dunbar found that even today, in casual conversations recorded in public places like shopping malls and on the street, around 65% of what people talk about is social. Who did what to whom? Who is dating who? Who got promoted? And who got fired? And why? Facts about the weather and the economy get a sliver of airtime compared to the drama of human relationships. So, when you catch yourself scrolling through a thread about a celebrity breakup instead of reading an article about interest rates, you are not being shallow. You're running software that is millions of years old and has never been updated. There always is one. This same wiring that helped your ancestors survive is now being hijacked at a scale nobody in the past could have imagined. For most of human history, gossip had a natural ceiling. You could only gossip with the people in your village, your tribe, your 50 or so close connections. The information stayed local. It moved at the speed of walking. Now, a single rumor can hit 1 billion screens before breakfast. The circuitry that once helped a small band of humans catch a liar in their midst is now being triggered by algorithms designed by companies that studied this exact biology and built products around it. Social media platforms did not invent your craving for gossip. They found it already sitting there, fully loaded, and they built a delivery system perfectly shaped to fit it. Every notification is a tiny tease. Every headline about a scandal is engineered the same way a campfire story was engineered thousands of years ago. Open a loop, promise a reveal, make the viewer lean in. The only difference is scale. What used to reach 50 people around a fire now reaches 50 million people in an afternoon. And your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a village rumor and a viral headline. It reacts to both exactly the same way. This explains something that used to confuse psychologists. Why do people keep consuming content they later say made them feel worse? Why do people scroll through drama that leaves them anxious, angry, or exhausted, and then do it again the next day? The answer is that the reward is not happiness. The reward is relevance. Your brain is not asking, will this make me feel good? It is asking, could this affect my survival, my status, my safety? And gossip, real or fabricated, always signals yes. Now let's talk about facts for a second, because facts are not losing this battle by a small margin. They are losing badly, and the reason comes down to a concept called information shape. A fact, especially a scientific one, is usually flat. It tells you a conclusion without a journey. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. True, useful, and completely forgettable within the hour. Gossip, on the other hand, almost always arrives with a shape, a beginning, a character, a conflict, a twist, and a resolution. Your brain is a story processing machine before it is anything else. Give it a flat fact, and it stores it weakly. Give it a story about betrayal, love, revenge, or scandal, and it lights up regions tied to memory, emotion, and even physical sensation. Studies on narrative transportation have shown that when people hear a story, their brain activity starts to mirror the brain activity of someone actually living the events. Facts do not do this. Stories, including gossip, absolutely do. This is why a well-told rumor can outcompete a well-documented fact almost every single time in the court of public attention. It is not that people do not value truth. It is that truth, delivered flat, cannot compete with drama, delivered as a story, for the brain's limited attention. So does this mean you are doomed to be a gossip machine forever? Easily manipulated, addicted to drama, allergic to boring truths? Not exactly, because understanding this wiring is the first step to using it instead of being used by it. Here is something most people miss. The same craving that makes gossip irresistible can be pointed at facts if the facts are given a shape. This is why the best science communicators in the world do not lecture. They tell a story about a lab, a mistake, a discovery, a rivalry between researchers, a moment where everything almost fell apart before the breakthrough. They are feeding your ancient social brain a modern fact wrapped in an old format it already trusts. This is not manipulation. It is translation. It is speaking to the brain in the language it evolved to listen to. The one where scientists watched people's brains while they listened to gossip. Researchers using brain imaging did exactly this, feeding people information framed as either neutral fact or juicy gossip about people in the room. The moment gossip entered the picture, activity spiked in the brain's reward centers, and in regions tied to social evaluation, the parts of your mind that quietly ask, "Am I safe here? Is this person a threat? Where do I stand in this group?" Neutral facts barely moved the needle. The gap was not small. It was dramatic enough that researchers described gossip as functioning almost like a nutrient the social brain is starving for. That single finding explains 100 things you have probably felt but never named. Why true crime podcasts outperform history lectures even when both are educational. Why celebrity scandals get more engagement than climate reports, even when the climate report matters more to your actual future. Why a coworker whispering about the office breakup will pull your attention away from a task faster than any email marked urgent ever could.